I can hear Roxanne talking.
Yeah. All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to 605 Lost Oak Live. My name is Steven. I work here in the tasting room. Some of you may recognize me, but if you don't, I've been here about almost 3 years. And today we've got a very special guest with us. We've got our winemaker, Jim Evans. He's here today to answer some questions and just kind of give a little bit of a background on him and let us know about the winemaking industry. So how you doing today, Jim?
Oh, I'm doing great, Stephen. How are you?
Doing good.
You're tired, I bet, because we bottled wine today.
Yes, I am tired. I had to go home and clean up. But was able to get back, and I'm glad we're being able to do this today.
Good, I am too.
All right. So today I'm just going to ask you a few questions and just kind of let you answer, and then I'll maybe, just more of a conversation style interview.
Sure. That works for me. Sounds good.
So my first question is, how long have you been in the wine industry, in the winemaking industry?
Well, a long time. My first harvest, and when I first got into the industry, was 1981. That was my first harvest in Texas. And this year, 2020, will be my 40th harvest in Texas. So, yeah, I've been around a long time. I always say that all the smart ones got out way back, but 40 years doing this in Texas, yes.
Wow, and what led you to get into this industry?
I was actually looking for a summer job when I was going off to college at Texas A&M University. Mm-hmm. By the way, we're both Aggies.
Yes,
and,
no jokes.
Class 84, class 05. And I got a job with, of all things, ironically, the University of Texas System Lands Office out in West Texas in Midland. And they had experimental vineyards down around Fort Stockton, by Bakersfield, about 30 miles east of Fort Stockton. And they actually had another one in Fort Stockton, and then we had another little experimental vineyard out at Van Horn, Texas, which is about 120 miles east of El Paso. And so I spent the summer harvesting grapes, working in the winery, helping Dr. Charles McKinney and Dr. Roy Mitchell, two big names in the Texas industry. And then after that summer was over, I spent my first year at Texas A&M. And then they hired me back for the summer of 82, 3, and 84. Then I graduated. Then they hired me back full-time as a winemaker for the University of Texas System. So I made wine at a little experimental winery in Midland. And we had our vineyards at Bakersfield and at Van Horn.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
So you've really experienced the Texas wine industry from its infancy and what it is today. So what has that process been like, seeing it grow the way it has?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's thrilling is what it is. It's really exciting and thrilling. The main difference is, when I got into it in 81, I think there were like 7 wineries in Texas, and less than 10,
Yeah.
It was a small industry. But there were, by the mid to late 80s, it started to pick up. There were more people, more vineyards going in. And of course, more people in the Lubbock area, Brownfield, the High Plains, the Texas High Plains. That's the go-to place to plant grapes in the state of Texas for wine grapes. And that's where they were going. And a lot of the wineries were coming in the hill country because that's a big tourist destination. But that's one thing that hasn't changed. Even today, we buy our grapes from the High Plains and bring them to all parts of the state. Now, we're looking at over 500 G-permit wineries in the state of Texas. It's huge. And I go to the Texas Wine and Grape Growers Conference or the Hill Country Wine Symposium, and there's hundreds of people there. And it's just really thrilling to see this many people getting into this business, and young people, and so many wineries. And it's exciting because the wines they're making are so good. I mean, some of those wines that we were making back in the early 80s, but now we're making wines that I think could compete with anybody, not only in the United States, but in the world. Texas is really going to make a mark in winemaking, and it's thrilling to me to have been a part of it almost from the start, to see where it's going now, and I just can't wait to see what the future is going to hold also.
Right, and what would you say as far as Texas wines, what are the best grapes that are grown in Texas, or that you've over the years have determined to be
Well,
the
you know,
best?
when we first started, everybody wanted Cabernet, Chardonnay, and Merlot, you know.
Right.
Well, we've pretty much figured out that Chardonnay is a hit or miss in Texas. It's not going to be, there are some wineries that make very good Chardonnay, don't get me wrong. And Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot are two that we can do very well here. But what we're finding out, I think, in the last 10, 12 years is a lot of these Mediterranean varieties. I mean, Texas is kind of called the Mediterranean of the U.S. And these varieties that grow in Spain, like a Tempranillo red, Albarino white, the Spanish varieties. You've got the south of France, the Rhone Valley, Syrah, Viognier, Roussanne, Picpoul Blanc, the whites, the Mourvedre for a red that makes a wonderful red and a beautiful rosé. And then you go over into Italy, where we've got Montepulciano, Sangiovese, Vermentino, and Muscat for whites. I think that Texas is really hitting it out of the park with a lot of these varieties that we're doing with these Mediterranean style. And in some instances, I think we can do just as good as they can in the oak country. Now, part of the problem of that is name recognition. These are varieties that aren't really well known. I mean, you know, how many people go into your store and say, "Oh, give me your best Picpoul Blanc," you know, because nobody's heard of it. But where these grapes are grown in the Mediterranean, they've got hundreds of years of history and culture there. And people, these wineries that make these have a following, not only local, but regional, national, and worldwide. And it's hard for Texas. We just have to educate people in Texas about these grapes that we can grow there. But, I mean, we've got this great bottle of Cabernet Franc right here. This is a Bordeaux variety. And we've done very well with these Bordeaux varieties in Texas as well. And, you know, Texas, I've said this before, it's kind of a melting pot of people and cultures. And we're finding out now it's kind of a melting pot of grape varieties, and that we can grow these grape varieties, not only these Bordeaux's, but also these Mediterranean style as well.
And obviously, with Texas, you have to deal with a lot of different, a diverse climate as well.
Oh, yes.
And bad weather and hailstorms and heat, cold, ice.
I know. I was in Napa Valley many years ago, and I was talking to a winemaker there, and I was saying, "Well, what about late freezes? What do you do for that?" Late freezes? No, we don't have that. And I said, "Well, what about hailstorms and things like that?" And he goes, "Well, we don't have that either." And I just wanted to punch him, you know, and say, "Get a grip!" But no. But it is an issue in Texas. Mother Nature can be very fickle, and fortunately, we've had 5 really good harvests in a row. But when we do have a freeze, like in 2013, we had a hard freeze every week of April on the plains, and on May 3rd, it was 23 degrees at Sundown, Texas, which is just right outside of Lubbock. Any one or maybe 2, we could have had a crop, but that many, it just wiped out everything. We were going to get 100 and some odd tons of grapes. We got 0 from the plains that year. But you know what? These Texas people up there on the plains were planting more vineyards that same year. So that's the kind of spirit that we're gonna really make this thing work here. But hail and late freezes are issues, but we are starting to see things like wind turbines to generate, you know, to create heat inversions to protect crops. We're starting to see hail nets to help protect the crop from hail. They use a lot of those in South America, and the technology is good, and it works here in Texas as well. So fingers crossed that we can make this thing work in spite of what Mother Nature throws at us.
Just continued innovation.
That's it. That's the name of the game. Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah, and especially here, you know.
Oh boy, yes,
any
absolutely.
number of issues that can come about.
Yep.
But as far as being a winemaker, what is your favorite part of winemaking other than drinking?
Oh, dang! You took the words right out of my mouth. Well, winemaking is, you know, it's hard work. It's not easy, and you have to have a passion for it. And I guess I must have a passion for it, being here 40 years, you know, doing it. And the whole process, to me, the way things, watching these, like right now, we're in April, and I was just out there in the little vineyard today looking at the little bitty grapes that are just starting. And I'm already starting to think of, all right, when these get big and we pick them, you know, what kind of wine is this going to be, and what can we do to really make this to be such a wonderful wine? And it's just the whole process to me, from beginning to end, watching the cycle of the grapevine, and then when we harvest, the grapes come off the vines take a deep breath, sigh of relief, because it's pretty good stress on them to carry this crop that we prune them to carry. And then we move into the winery. And then, we crush, we press, we ferment, we age in oak, or we age in stainless, we sweeten or we don't sweeten. And just to watch the whole process to me and how that wine turns out. When it began, it's just those little bitty buds on a vine, That's the fascinating thing to me. And I guess there's not really one particular part of it other than just, draining the bottles, after we fill them. So
right.
That's the fun part.
Yeah. And then what is your favorite varietal that you've grown, or your favorite wine that you've made?
Well, I guess I'm going to have to say Cabernet Franc that we work with. This Cabernet Franc that we have right here is our 2018. We bottled it in October last year, 2019. Very pleased with how it's coming around. It comes from a little vineyard, Burning Daylight Vineyard, owned by David and Missy Goodall, just on the other side of I-35 from us here. Little plot of land. They grow an acre of Cabernet Franc and an acre of Sauvignon Blanc, and they're beautiful fruit, both of them. Both varieties do very well. But our Cabernet Franc, to me, is really becoming a flagship wine for us, and I'm really enjoy seeing it come into the winery. Mm-hmm. And when you see this fruit and how good it is, my initial thought is, don't screw it up. Makes me nervous. But every Cabernet Franc we've produced from their vineyard, our first was in 2014. So the 14, 15, 16, 17 have all won a gold medal or a double gold medal at national and international wine competitions. I'm very proud of that. Mm-hmm. And I thank the Goodalls because they are wonderful growers. And wine is made in the vineyard. And the 18, we haven't entered anything yet, but, high hopes. But I really enjoy working with the Cabernet Franc. The white variety that I really enjoy working with is Viognier, because it can be a little different year to year, and you always want to see how it's going to be. And we have wonderful Viognier growers, the Bingham family out in Meadow, Texas by Brownfield. And I'm always excited to get the Viognier in there and see what it's going to be like.
Yeah, and the Viognier is always wonderful.
It is. We're very fortunate.
Top sellers.
It is.
Sure.
And they are wonderful growers also, and just always excited to get that fruit in from their vineyard.
Yes. And as far as over your career, what's one of the most proud moments that you've had as a winemaker?
Ooh, proud moments.
As far as like achievements or anything like that.
Well, we won double gold medal at San Francisco International with our 2017 Cabernet Franc, and that was a great moment. For me, yeah, but for all of us, we're all a team. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're in there bottling with us today.
Yeah,
you're part of this team too. And you make the wheels turn. We all do. And but they gave 3 double golds at the San Francisco International, which is probably the most prestigious wine competition we can enter. And one was upper end Napa, one was from Washington State, and the third double gold was from the little vineyard over here south of Arlington, Mansfield area. That was fascinating to me because 3 completely different geographical areas in the United States produced these wonderful, wonderful wines. But, everyone, it's like when you bottle them and then I just say, go make something of yourself. It's like watching your kids go off to school. Some of them are not going to be as good as others, but, you just hope for the best and you just wish them the best and go out there. But I'm always very pleased when we do win awards in competitions. But to me, the greatest thing is our customers coming in here, buying the wines and enjoying the wines. And that's why we do this. We don't do it. I mean, the gold medals are great. Bring them all. But the main thing we do this for is our customers, our friends, our Lost Oak family to come in here, have a good bottle of wine, and enjoy time together. Unfortunately, we can't do that right now, but the time is coming, and we hope to have everybody back. And, if we can be a little bit a part of their family and their family story, that's huge to me also.
Yes. And so as far as bottling, which you've mentioned today, as you said, we bottled 2 reds today. We did the Meritage and the Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yes, we
both
did.
2018 varieties.
Right, 2018. You got it.
How would you describe the Meritage?
Well, the Meritage is
2018.
it's a blend. Meritage is always a Bordeaux blend, and there's actually a Meritage Society that we actually pay to be able to use the name Meritage on, and it's a blend of Bordeaux grapes. It has to be at least 2 of the Bordeaux grapes, Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Cab Franc, Malbec, and Petit Verdot. Has to be at least 2 of those, and one of them cannot be more than 90%. And our Meritage that we bottled today is Cabernet, Merlot, Malbec, and Petit Verdot in kind of descending order of percentages. And the guy that won this competition to name it, he combined the words merit and heritage and made it Meritage. So that's why we were able to use this. And people who are in the know about wines and blends, when they see the word Meritage, they know it's a Bordeaux blend. And I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a good one. Like all our reds, they always do well with a little aging in the bottle. Cabernet is going to be the same way. And hopefully, this is April, we're doing this. They'll be released probably in the fall sometime. And excited to see how they're going to do.
Okay. And then, can you talk a little bit about the difference in how bottling has changed here at Lost Oak from the time Lost Oak opened, back when it was Lone Oak, and to how we did it today?
Man. Okay, you got 2 hours, right? No.
Yeah.
Well, we used to bottle right in here in this room where we're sitting in, which is in our tasting room. And it's funny, we bottled over here, and before we had these big doors, it was a sliding door and a window. And we would be bottling, and people would be in the tasting room drinking wine and looking through the window at us while we bottled. And I always wanted to just put up a sign in the window that said, "Please don't feed the bottlers."
Yeah. Like you're in a zoo.
Yeah, I know, we were. And but bottling back then by hand, we had a 6-spout filler. We had a 15-gallon beer keg that gravity fed the wine into the 6-spout filler. We had a pneumatic corker, which is a nice corker, and it worked pretty good. But still, to bottle 200 cases then, that's a 10-hour day. It would take me 2 hours to get everything clean to the point we could use it, set up, and then we would bottle all day. And then I had to tear everything down, clean it all again, and put it away. It's 10 hours, 200 cases. Now we have a bottling line, a mobile bottling line that comes to our winery. He backs right up into our building. And you were there today. You saw it working.
Yeah, it's pretty
when we
amazing.
get it going good, we can do 200 cases in an hour. And, it's still work. It's hard work, as you know, but it's safer. It's better. And we just got to the point where we couldn't do it by hand anymore. It was just too much wine as we were growing. So this mobile bottling line became available about the same time that we were outgrowing what we had. So now there's still a lot of wonderful wine made in Texas that is bottled by hand, and kudos to those guys. But we're very fortunate to have Mike Goddard and his bottling line come out here.
Yeah, I remember the first time I bottled, it was pretty amazing because I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
And I just saw this, like a semi-truck backed up to the end.
Yeah, that's kind of what
wondering
it was.
how this was going to work. And yeah, the whole thing, the inside is just decked out and it's all machinery and
all stainless steel. It's a very nice line.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yes.
And so we're going to be bottling again next weekend as well.
We are. We're bottling next
It's going to be
Saturday
whites
as well.
though.
We're going to bottle our 2019 Viognier. I'm excited about that.
Yes.
And we're going to bottle our 2019 Rosa Blanca, our sweet blush wine. So we're selling out, so time to get more in the bottle.
Okay. And as far as wines aging in bottles, I know every winery kind of wants to know how long their wines will last in the bottle before they aren't good anymore.
Right.
Do you have any idea of how long the Lost Oak? I guess it depends on the wine.
It does. It depends. Our red wines have a tendency to age longer, and some of these wines we're making now are bigger, bolder. I'm hoping they'll hold up 10 years or more. We've actually got some wines from 05, 08 that are still drinking pretty nice. Now they've peaked. I'll say that. And they're maybe a little bit on the downward side, but they still have very nice, wonderful characters. They start to change over time into more like from red fruit to more ripe black fruit, prune, raisin type stuff, but there's still some wonderful things. People always ask me, when do your wines taste the best? And I say, when we sell out. That's when it's really tasting the best, because we really haven't been able to bottle age our wines like I'd like, but we're starting to be able to do that now. And we can bottle age them for several months before we release them. But to me, our wines always seem to taste the best, the reds, 1 year after bottling. And again, lots of times we're sold out by them. And so I tell people, buy 2. Drink one now and save one.
And I've noticed that with like our Merlot, especially from last year. When we first brought it out, it was a little bit tart.
Yeah, a little grippy.
By the end, as we were about to sell out of it, it was amazing.
Oh yeah, it slapped you around and you first trying it. But now it's got much more friendly.
But I guess with a business like this, there's a business side to it, like what we have in inventory.
That's right.
We have to bring something out earlier than maybe a winemaker would want to.
Well, like I say, people ask, when do you decide to bottle your wine? I say, when Roxanne tells me she needs wine, that's when we bottle. But you know what? Her and I are on the same page. I kind of joke about it, but she understands the process, and she knows that we're striving for quality always,
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's always the goal. And as far as for the Texas wine industry, how do you see that moving into the future? Do you see that as something that continues to grow and has a long-term staying power within the state?
Absolutely. And I think that some of the reds we're making will have, they're going to have aging capabilities. And some of the wineries are able to hold on to their wines a little bit longer even and release them later. Some of them make a point to do that, And but I do believe that the ageability of Texas wines is improving as our wines improve also, So they just kind of go hand in hand.
Okay. All right. And so as far as I think I've asked pretty much everything I've got for you. Is there anything else you needed to add? Or
You know what? I just want to say during these difficult times, that we just hope all of our Lost Oak family is taking care of themselves, being careful. We've got a lot of good friends, a lot of good clients and friends. I'd like to give a shout out to, maybe David and Jill and Doug and Kathy and Ruth and Remy and Daryl and Janet, and of course Dwayne. We couldn't do any of this without Dwayne. And we missed you guys today bottling. Take care of yourself, and we can't wait till you guys come back and we'll share a glass of wine together.
All right.
We got a few questions here from our friends at home. The first one, it is from Betsy. And how many pounds of grapes will it take to make a bottle of wine?
How many pounds of grapes will it take to make a bottle of wine? Okay. I might have to expand that out, extrapolate it out just a little bit. We get about 150 gallons of wine out of a ton of grapes. 150 gallons. And 150 gallons of wine will give you about 60 cases of 12 bottles. So let's say 60 cases of 12 bottles this size out of a ton of grapes. I hope that kind of answers your question a little bit. 60 times 12, I went to A&M, so I can't do the math really fast in my head. So anyway.
All right, the second question we have comes from Vicky. And she's asking, how hard has winemaking changed since you start doing that, if it has changed?
Well, it has changed for us, for sure, because we were able to upgrade equipment all the time. When I was first into this, everything was hand harvested. But now we have, when we get grapes from the high plains in these bigger vineyards that we get from, the Binghams, the Diamante Dobla vineyard, Jet and Gay Wilmoth, our vineyard that we get grapes from, our Montepulciano, the Crick Hill, Don and Chase Hill, and Elizabeth Hill, those are all machine harvested. And that's a really improvement over just doing the hand harvesting. And like I say, we've upgraded our press, we've upgraded our stemmer crusher, and that equipment's always been kind of available, and you scale it to the size of your winery, and pumps and everything like that. But it's more electricity revolutionized the winemaking business, when electricity came in, because now we have stainless steel tanks that we can chill, and we have pumps that we can plug in and just turn on, presses that we can just plug in and turn on, and that's made it much more efficient and better, I think.
So Chuck has another question. It's about Hog Wild.
Hog Wild,
Yeah.
2004.
2004, and he says that how much longer he can save a bottle of Hog Wild before he consumes that.
Wow, 2004, this is 2020, it's going to be 16 years old. Sweet 16. You know what, Chuck? Hold on to that bottle till 2024. It'll be
Give it 2
20
decades.
years old, and bring it here and we'll try it together.
Let's see, we have any other questions here? Well, lots of comments from Betsy, from Lori, from David, Richard. Everybody, like, they miss you. They really appreciate how great job you do with the wines. From Alexa,
Hey, Alexa.
Casey. Tons of our customers right now making comments there. But I don't think I have any more questions.
Okay, good. Maybe we covered everything.
Sounds like it. Well, Jim, we appreciate you coming out today, and
Thank you, Stephen. Appreciate
especially
your help today bottling.
Yeah, just I mean, you made all the wine, but I taped every one of those boxes. So
You did. You taped every one of
it's
those.
a very important job.
Every one. 738 cases he taped.
So yeah. So if the wine is really good, just remember that
taping job.
Who taped those boxes up.
Yeah, and you taped your gloves under a few of them, I remember.
Yeah, I did.
We won't go there.
So just a couple of reminders for everyone. Remember to order your Sadie and Holiday 2-packs while we still have them. And also, too, a reminder that we won't be open tomorrow, but we will be back on Monday. So you can always do your curbside pickup or deliveries. And also to save your empty wine bottles for the Creative Wino class that we're going to be doing on Wednesday. So with that said, you got anything else, Jim?
I'm good.
Okay. Well, thank you all for watching 605 Lost Oak Live.